Alright, welcome back to the tutorial. So, for this particular tutorial, I want to build some excitement, build some momentum, and actually get something on the screen. We did a lot of talking last tutorial, so I want to try to do some more doing in this one here. I'm in the load game external event from our main events list there, and we're actually going to build our health bar in this tutorial. So let's go ahead, and we need a couple of things here. Basically what I did is I made a health bar using Paint 3D, and that I made that in two different ways. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So in my basic Kingdom Room layout here, I'm going to add a new sprite, and it's going to be called Health Container. Okay, there it is. And basically it's just a white bordered outline with a transparent middle that's going to be filled in with our actual health bar. So this is going to help us be able to see the health bar more clearly, but we can actually manipulate the health bar that we're going to place inside there. So let's hit apply. And now let's also add our actual health bar. So this health bar I made in Paint 3D, and it's just 100 pixels wide. I could even bring this up in Pascal just to show you. So it's 100 pixels wide and 16 pixels in height. That sort of looked good to me. The frame, the white bordered frame around it, is basically just 5 pixels out from here. So it's like 110 pixels wide because you've got 5 pixels on this side, 5 pixels on that side, and you've got 5 up here and 5 here. So you got to add another 10. It's an extra 26 pixels in length. Actually, no, I apologize. It's still just an extra 10 pixels added overall, so it's 16. It ends up being 26 in height, the white bordered one, so that we could place this inside. It probably will make more sense once we actually do it. Alright, so let's hit apply. Now I do want these to be global as well, because we're going to use these throughout. So let's go ahead and make these global objects. Okay, and I think I also want to group these as well. You might remember we grouped some objects in an earlier tutorial. We're going to group these also because we may end up having multiple sort of menu bars, right? Things like, you can have things, of course, like stamina or, you know, all those kind of things you're used to. Magic, right? People have magic bars for their games and stuff. So let's go ahead and let's make a grouping here, and we're going to add and rename this one. We can call this one bars, actually. Okay, we're going to edit the group, and we want to add our health container and health bar. And hit apply. Alright. Now we have to think for a second, right, how this health bar is going to function for both our user and for us as well. We could, of course, let me bring up the properties menu again, the layout menu here. We could just sort of drag these out onto the screen, right? We could do that, and then just sort of drag this one out and make it kind of a static bar situation here. But that's not really going to help us in the long run. Remember, we're trying to make these game sections, or we're trying to build this game so that we can port this code from this game to future games. And that's just not a good thing to do, is to make this so static. Besides, we want to add some user interaction as well. It may be that the user wants the health bar down here in the upper right, lower right. We can give the user that sort of power to do that by simply doing what we've been doing, which is using code to sort of place our objects, really. So let's do that instead. Let's use the code here to place our objects. So I'm going to delete these, and we're going to go into our load game, and we're going to make a new menus here, right? We're going to add another group here, and we're going to call this one health container. And let's add a new sub-event below that and start adding some variables here. And of course, right off the bat, we know we're going to need position variables, right? So that's going to be menus dot, and then we need two types here. We've got our health container, which is that white border, and by virtue of creating a variable here, right, or because we've created a variable, we're already sort of giving the user power to change this number. Right now, we're gonna just hard code it at about 96 out, right? Because we've got to account for the 32 pixels for the cement border, and then we'll go out another like 64 from there. So we're going to say position X for the health container is 96. Let's go ahead and copy that, paste it, and we just need to change this to a Y. And I say let's leave it at 96. We'll go 96 down for the Y position here. All right, what else do we need? We need the position of our actual health bar. So let's go in here and let's create that as well. We've got to change this to health bar. Now if we set it to 96, it's just going to overwrite the white border. Since I know that that white border is about 5 pixels, we can go in 5 pixels for our starting position here. So that would just be 101. And I'm going to copy and paste this as well and change that to a Y. Now I already know that this is not going to be the only variables that we're going to use, especially when it comes to the health bar itself, right? Because we're going to need some variables to manage the width of the health bar as Bob gets hit. We also want to max out the health bar at 100, right? Unless you want one of those games like God of War series where you add health and the health bar grows, that kind of thing. The traditional way to use a health bar, of course, is that it just stays by percentage. You've got 100% of your health bar, and that's as big as it goes. I'm going to go with the traditional way because I'm a little older, you know, so we'll go that route. But you could certainly go the route of God of War where you grow the health bar with your health. But we won't deal with that right now. For this one, we're just going to deal with placing it, and then we'll talk about managing the actual health bar. Okay. So we've got these variables now. We can hold the position. The next question is this, is sort of how we're going to use the health bar in terms of the storyboarding functionality of the game. Well, we know that that we generally want to keep the health bar in front of just about anything, right? But there might be a time, say for cutscenes or something like that, where we want the health bar to just sort of go away, or maybe we want the health area, right? Which again could include things like a magic bar or a stamina bar, that kind of thing. We might want all of that to go away for our cutscene. So the easiest way to do that or manage that is going to be to add another layer, right? Remember we used a layer for our inventory screens so we can manage when they were up and away. Let's go ahead and do that same thing here. Let's add a layer. There we go. And we're going to call this one, we'll call it the health layer. I think that's fine. Whoops. And we'll leave it as visible for right now, because there's no reason to not see it necessarily. And now we just need to create the external event that's going to run all of this information, right? That's going to manage our health bar. Let's go to Project Manager, External Events, and let's add a new external event. And we'll call this one Health Bar Manager. All right, let's do our necessary background work first. We will connect it to our external events here in Basic Kingdom Room. Let's see, let me clean this up for a second. There we go. All right, let's go ahead and add a new grouping. Let's call this Health. Health Management, and we'll add a link underneath that, and let's link our external event. There it is. Okay. Let's connect this to our Basic Kingdom Room, and let's add our first event here. All right. We likely will have a condition that runs this. It'll probably be, I guess we could do that right now actually. There's no reason not to do it. Let's go back to our load game, and in our health container let's add another variable here. We'll say menus.healthBarShow. And we're going to set that equal to, set it equal to 1. 1 meaning that it's actually showing. So we'll set our condition in our health bar manager, and we'll say the variable is menus.healthBarShow equals 1. What are we going to do? We're going to do a sub-event, I think is what I want to do here. And I'm going to do a trigger once, just so it doesn't continually create itself if it doesn't have to here. And let's create. So we'll do common actions, object, create an object, and we're going to create from our grouping here, from bars, we're going to create, whoops, health container, sorry. And the position is global variable menus.health container, whoops, dot position X. Let's copy and paste and say position Y. Now remember, we've got to change the layer here. We want it to be in the health layer. And let's copy and paste this. Go back in, and let's create our health bar and change these variables here. To health bar, health bar. Okay. Z order shouldn't be much of a problem here, honestly, because it's the only thing that's on the layer. Let's see how that goes. Let's run a preview. All right, there it is. So we've got a health bar on the screen. It looks a little awkward because of the where we have the chest over here. I mean, we could pull it up a little bit. We can move it up here maybe. We don't have to go out quite so far. Yeah, we could do that. Let's change it up. We don't have to go quite so far out. So we can do 64, 64, and then we just have to add 5 here. So this would be 69. And let's see how that looks. Yeah, I like that. It's a good position. And remember, because we've coded it, we have the power to move it around the screen wherever we want. We can give that power to the user as well.